Disclaimer.
I kept my vows, but heaven said I broke them.
My name is Rebecca Lynn Thornton. I am 38 years old. I died for 9 minutes on November 3, 2023 in Austin, Texas.
I want to tell you that my marriage ended with a fight. That would be easier. Before I begin, please subscribe so more people can hear testimonies like this. But the truth is, it died in silence. Slowly. Quietly. Like a flower you forget to water until one day you realize it has been dead for months and you just never noticed. I woke up that morning the same way I had woken up for the past 6 years. Alone. Not physically. My husband was there on his side of the bed, his back to me like a wall I had built brick by brick with every cold word, every turned shoulder. Every night I chose distance over honesty. I stared at the ceiling and listened to him breathe, and I felt nothing. Not love. Not hate. Just tired. So tired my bones ached with it. I got up before he did. I always did. I made coffee in the dark, the kitchen silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my own thoughts. Thoughts I had rehearsed so many times they felt like truth. He does not see me. He does not care. I do everything and he does nothing. I am alone in this marriage. I had said those words to myself so many times that I believed them completely. I did not question them anymore. I just lived in them. When he came downstairs, he smiled. A small smile. The kind that used to make my heart skip. Now it just irritated me. "Good morning," he said, his voice still rough from sleep. I did not look at him. I poured his coffee. Set it on the counter. "Morning," I said. Flat. One word. That was all I gave him. He stood there for a moment, holding the mug, and I could feel him trying to find something to say. Something to bridge the gap between us. But I had already turned away. I was wiping down the counter that did not need wiping, my back to him, my jaw tight. He left the room. I heard his footsteps fade down the hallway. And I told myself I did not care. The kids came downstairs and I shifted. I smiled. I kissed their heads. I made their breakfast and asked about their homework and listened to their silly stories, and for a few minutes I felt like myself again. Like the version of me I used to be. But the moment my husband walked back into the room, the warmth drained out of me. I became cold again. Hard. I used the children as a shield, talked to them, not to him. Looked at them, not at him. And when he tried to join the conversation, I answered in short sentences that shut him out without him even realizing it. He left for work at 7:15. He kissed the kids. He paused at the door and looked at me, and I saw it. The question in his eyes. The hurt. The confusion. He wanted to ask what was wrong. He wanted to fix it. But he did not know how. And I did not help him. I just stood there, arms crossed, face blank, letting the silence do the talking. "I will see you tonight," he said quietly. I nodded. He left. The door closed. And I stood in the kitchen surrounded by dirty dishes and half-eaten toast, and I felt a weight in my chest so heavy I thought I might collapse. But I did not. I just kept moving. Because that is what I did. I kept moving. I kept managing. I kept surviving. And I called it strength. But it was not strength. It was slow death. The weeks blurred together after that. Every day the same. Wake up. Avoid. Manage. Resent. Sleep. Repeat. I ran the house like a machine. Groceries. Laundry. School pickups. Doctor appointments. I did it all. And every task I completed alone, I added to the list in my head. The list of reasons I was justified in my coldness. The list of proof that I was the only one who cared. He worked long hours. I knew that. He was trying to provide. I knew that too. But somewhere along the way, I stopped giving him credit for trying and started punishing him for not being perfect. There were moments, small moments, where he tried. He brought me flowers once. Tulips. My favorite. I put them in a vase and said thank you, but my voice was ice. He planned a date night. Got a babysitter. Made reservations. I went. But I sat across from him in that restaurant and I barely spoke. I answered his questions with one word. I looked at my phone. I made him feel the weight of my disappointment in every silence. And when he finally stopped trying to make conversation and just stared at his plate, I told myself it was his fault. That he was the one who gave up. But I was the one who had given up years ago. I just did not have the honesty to admit it. The nights were the worst. We would lie in the same bed, inches apart, and it felt like miles. I would turn my back to him and pull the blanket tight around me like armor. Sometimes he would reach for me, his hand brushing my shoulder, tentative, hopeful. And I would pull away. Not dramatically. Just enough. Just enough to let him know I did not want to be touched. That I did not want him. And he would pull his hand back and turn over, and I would lie there in the dark, staring at the wall, feeling victorious and empty at the same time. I told myself I was protecting myself, that I had a right to be distant, that he had hurt me too many times and I was just guarding my heart. But the truth is, I was not guarding anything. I was destroying it. I was taking every wound he had ever caused, every disappointment, every unmet expectation, and I was using them as weapons. I was punishing him every single day. And I was doing it quietly. So quietly that no one knew. Not our friends. Not our family. Not even him. He just knew something was wrong. He just did not know it was me. I was 8 months pregnant with our third child when I realized I did not recognize myself anymore. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror one night, my hands on my swollen belly, and I looked at my face and I did not know the woman staring back. She was hard, tired, bitter. Her eyes were empty. And I thought, is this who I am now? Is this who I have become? But I did not know how to change it. I did not even know if I wanted to. Because the bitterness had become familiar. Comfortable. It was easier to be angry than to be vulnerable. Easier to blame him than to admit I was part of the problem. So I just kept going. The contractions started at 2 in the morning. Sharp. Low. Unmistakable. I sat up in bed and pressed my hand to my belly, breathing through the pain, waiting to see if it would pass. It did not. Another one came 5 minutes later. Then another. I reached over and shook my husband awake. It is time, I said. My voice was calm. Too calm. Like I was telling him we were out of milk. He sat up fast, his eyes wide, his hair sticking up in every direction. Are you sure? He asked. I nodded. He jumped out of bed and started pulling on clothes, his hands shaking. Okay. I will get the bag. I will wake your mom. I will. He was talking fast, nervous, trying to take care of everything at once. And I just sat there on the edge of the bed, watching him, feeling nothing. He turned to me. Are you okay? Do you need help getting dressed? I shook my head. I am fine, I said. I was not fine. But I did not tell him that. I never told him that. We drove to the hospital in silence. He kept glancing at me, his hand hovering near mine on the seat like he wanted to hold it, but was not sure if I would let him. I stared out the window and counted the streetlights and focused on breathing through the contractions that were coming faster now, harder now. When we pulled into the emergency bay, he parked crooked and ran around to help me out of the car. I let him. Not because I needed him, but because it was easier than arguing. He held my arm as we walked through the automatic doors, and I felt his hand trembling. It is going to be okay, he said quietly. I did not answer. They got me into a room quickly. Monitors. 4. Gown. The nurse asked me questions I barely heard. My husband stood in the corner, his arms crossed, watching me like he was afraid I might disappear if he looked away. I wanted to tell him to sit down, to relax. But I did not have the energy. Another contraction hit, and I gripped the bed rail and closed my eyes and breathed through it, and when it passed I heard him say, "Do you need anything? Water? Ice chips?" "Should I am fine," I said again. Sharper this time. He stopped talking. I felt the silence settle between us like a wall, and I told myself it was his fault for asking too many questions. The labor progressed fast. Too fast. The pain was everywhere now, radiating through my back, my hips, my legs. I heard the doctor say something about the baby's position. I heard words like monitor closely and possible complications, but they sounded far away, like I was underwater. My husband moved closer to the bed. He reached for my hand. I let him take it, but I did not squeeze back. I just let my hand lie limp in his, and I saw the look on his face. The hurt. The rejection. But I did not care. I was too tired to care. Then everything changed. I felt something shift inside me, something wrong. Warm liquid pooled beneath me, too much, too fast. The nurse looked down and her face went white. She pressed the call button. "I need the doctor in here now," she said, her voice tight. My husband's grip on my hand went hard. "What is wrong? What is happening?" No one answered him. The room filled with people. Voices overlapping. Hands on me. Monitors beeping faster. Someone said the word hemorrhage. Someone else said pressure dropping. I tried to focus, but the room was spinning now, tilting, and I felt cold. So cold. My husband was saying my name over and over, his voice cracking, but it sounded like he was shouting from the other end of a tunnel. They wheeled me fast down a hallway. Bright lights overhead. Faces blurring. I heard someone say emergency C-section. I heard someone say we are losing her. My husband was running beside the gurney, his hand still gripping mine, his face wet with tears, and I wanted to tell him I was sorry. I wanted to tell him I loved him, but I could not make my mouth work. The doors burst open. They pulled him away. He was screaming. I saw his face through the glass window, his hands pressed against it, his mouth forming my name. And then I could not see him anymore. I could not see anything. Just light. Blinding, consuming light. I felt my body go limp. Felt the warmth drain out of me like water from a broken cup. I heard the monitor flatline. One long, endless scream. I heard a voice shout, "She is coding." I felt pressure on my chest. Hands. Desperate hands. But I was not in my body anymore. I was above it. Floating. Weightless. Watching. I saw myself on that table. My chest open. Blood everywhere. The surgeon's hands moving fast, trying to stop something that could not be stopped. I saw my husband through the glass, collapsing against the wall, a nurse holding him up. I saw my baby, my daughter, being lifted from my body, crying, alive, perfect. And I tried to reach for her. I tried to scream. But I had no voice. No body. Just awareness. Terrible, helpless awareness. And then the room started to fade. The sounds grew distant. The light grew brighter. I was being pulled backward, away from the table, away from my husband, away from my baby. And I was not ready. I was not ready. I tried to fight it. I tried to hold on. But the pull was too strong. And the last thing I thought before everything went white was not "I love you." Not "please save me." It was. I should have forgiven him. I should have loved him. I should have tried. And then I was gone. I tried to scream his name. I tried to reach for him. But the light pulled me backward, and I was no longer in that room. I was somewhere else. Somewhere I was not prepared to be. I was not floating anymore. I was standing. But I did not know where. The light was everywhere. Not soft. Not warm. Piercing. The kind of light that does not let you hide. I tried to lift my hand to shield my eyes, but I had no sense of weight, no sense of body, just awareness. Terrible, absolute awareness. I looked down and saw my feet on something smooth and clear. Glass. The floor beneath me was glass. And beneath the glass, fire. Not touching me. Not burning me. But there. Flickering. Distant. A warning I did not want to understand. I turned in a slow circle, my breath, if I even had breath, coming fast and shallow. The space around me was vast. Endless. A hall that stretched in every direction, walls made of light so bright they had no edges. No doors. No windows. No way out. And the silence. The silence was so heavy it pressed against my chest like a hand. I opened my mouth to speak, to call out, to ask where I was, but no sound came. Just the pounding of my heart. Or the memory of my heart. I could not tell anymore. "Hello," I finally whispered. My voice sounded small. Fragile. It echoed back to me, but wrong. like it was being repeated by something that did not understand words, only sound. And then I saw them. Scrolls. Enormous scrolls. Unfurling in the air in front of me, suspended by nothing, glowing with golden light. They appeared one by one, slowly, deliberately, like something was deciding which ones I needed to see. The script on them was beautiful. Intricate. Burning as it appeared, each letter forming in fire and then settling into gold. I stepped closer, my legs moving without my permission, drawn forward by something I could not name. Fear. Curiosity. Dread. I reached out to touch one and my hand passed through it like smoke. But I could read it. Every word. Every line. Dates. Times. Moments I recognized. Conversations I had forgotten. And my name. Over and over. Rebecca Lynn Thornton. My name written in light at the top of every scroll. What is this? I whispered. The scrolls did not answer. They just kept appearing. More and more of them. Dozens. Hundreds. Filling the air around me like a storm of memories I did not ask to see. And then one scroll in the center began to glow brighter than the rest. It unrolled completely, the edges curling back, and I saw a date I knew by heart. June 12, 2010. My wedding day. My breath caught. The scroll showed words I had spoken. Vows I had made. I, Rebecca, take you, Daniel, to be my lawfully wedded husband. To have and to hold. In sickness and in health. For richer or poorer. To love and to cherish. As long as we both shall live. I heard my own voice saying them. Young. Hopeful. Trembling with joy. I remembered that moment. I remembered the way the sunlight came through the church windows. The way his hands shook when he slipped the ring on my finger. The way I believed, with everything in me, that we would make it. That love would be enough. And then the scroll changed. It did not disappear. It just shifted. The words remained, but now beneath them, other words began to appear. Moments. Scenes. Memories. Not the ones I had rehearsed in my mind. Not the version I had told myself for years. The truth. The actual, undeniable truth. I saw myself standing in the kitchen. Morning light. Coffee brewing. My husband walking in, smiling, saying good morning. And I saw myself ignore him. Not even look up. Just one flat word. Morning. I watched his face fall. Watched him stand there for a moment, holding his coffee, trying to find something else to say. And I watched myself turn my back to him. Deliberately. Coldly. Shutting him out. No, I whispered. That is not. I mean, he. But the scroll did not stop. Another moment appeared. Him bringing me flowers. Tulips. My favorite. I remembered that day. I remembered being annoyed because he was trying to fix things with a gesture instead of actually changing. But now I saw his face. Really saw it. The way he smiled when he handed them to me. The way his eyes searched mine, hoping for warmth. And I saw myself take the flowers without looking at him. Thank you, I said in the memory, my voice ice. I put them in a vase and walked away. And I saw him standing there alone in the kitchen, the smile dying on his face. My chest tightened. I was protecting myself. He hurt me. Another scroll opened. This one showed a date night. The one he planned. The reservation he made. I was there. I went. But I sat across from him, and I barely spoke. I answered his questions with one word. I looked at my phone. I made every second of that dinner a punishment. And the scroll showed me something I did not see then. It showed me his hands under the table. Shaking. It showed me the way he stared at his plate, defeated, trying to figure out what he had done wrong. It showed me the moment he gave up trying to reach me. Stop, I said. My voice was louder now. Desperate. Stop showing me this. But they did not stop. The scrolls kept opening. Faster now. Scene after scene. Moment after moment. Every cold shoulder. Everyone turned back. Every night I pulled away when he reached for me. Every morning I served his coffee in silence. Every time he tried and I dismissed him. Every small wound I inflicted, day after day after day, until he stopped trying at all. And then a book appeared. Massive. Ancient. Bound in light that pulsed like a heartbeat. It materialized in the air in front of me, suspended at eye level, and it opened on its own. Slowly. The pages glowing. And on the first page, written in letters of fire, were my wedding vows. Not printed. Not typed. Burning. Alive. As if they had been written in something more permanent than ink. Something eternal. I stared at them and I felt something crack inside me. I kept those vows, I said. My voice was shaking now. I stayed. I did not leave. I did not cheat. I did not break my promise. I stayed. The air around me shifted. Grew heavier. And I realized. I was not alone. I had not been alone this entire time. There was a presence here. Not visible. Not a form I could see. But undeniable. Overwhelming. Holy. The kind of presence that makes you want to fall to your knees and run away at the same time. I felt it watching me. Knowing me. Seeing every thought I had ever hidden, every wound I had ever nursed, every lie I had ever told myself. The scrolls froze. All of them. Suspended in the air. And one moment remained visible. A moment I knew. A night I remembered. My husband reaching for me in bed. His hand on my shoulder. Tentative. Hopeful. And me, pulling away. Just enough. Just enough to let him know I did not want him. The presence spoke. Not loud. Not a shout. But so clear it felt like the words were being carved into my bones. You prayed for me to change his heart. I stopped breathing. The silence stretched. Unbearable. Suffocating. And then the voice finished. I am showing you your own. The words hit me like a fist to the chest. I stumbled backward, my legs giving out, and I fell to my knees on the glass floor. The fire beneath flickered brighter for a moment, and I felt its heat, not on my skin, but inside me. A burning that had nothing to do with temperature and everything to do with truth. No, I whispered. No, you do not understand. He was the one who, he did not, but I could not finish. Because the scrolls were still there. Still open. Still showing me the truth I had spent years refusing to see. The voice spoke again. Calm. Steady. Devastating. You believed you were righteous because you stayed. The scrolls shifted. More scenes. This time not just my actions, but my thoughts. My inner monologue. The things I said to myself in the quiet moments. The running commentary I kept in my head. Every failure of his I catalogued. Every disappointment I stored. Every time I replayed his mistakes like evidence I was building for a trial. I saw myself lying awake at night, listing his sins. I saw myself in the shower, rehearsing arguments I never had out loud. I saw myself at church, praying, but not for our marriage. Praying for him to change. Praying for God to show him how wrong he was. Praying for vindication. But you did not stay in love. Another scroll opened. A moment I had forgotten. My husband is coming home after a long shift. Exhausted. His shoulders sagging. He walked into the bedroom where I was folding laundry, and he just stood there for a moment, looking at me. And I knew he needed something. Comfort. Connection. Just me. But I did not stop folding. I did not look up. I just kept moving, my hands busy, my face blank. And after a minute, he left. I heard him go into the bathroom and close the door. And I felt victorious. Like I had won something. You stayed in bitterness. The voice was not angry. That was the worst part. It was not shouting. It was not accusing. It was just telling me the truth. And the truth was a sword. I had a right to be upset, I said. My voice was breaking now, cracking under the weight of what I was seeing. He hurt me. He was not there. He worked all the time. He did not see me. He tried. The scrolls exploded into motion. Scene after scene. Moments I had dismissed. Forgotten. Rewritten. My husband is planning that date night. Researching restaurants. Calling the babysitter. Getting dressed, nervous, hoping it would help. And me, sitting across from him like I was doing him a favor. My husband bought those flowers. Standing in the store, trying to pick the right ones, hoping they would make me smile. And me, putting them in a vase without even looking at him. My husband reached for my hand in church, squeezing gently, and me, pulling away after 2 seconds, pretending I needed to grab something from my purse. Every moment he tried, every small gesture, every attempt to bridge the gap I had built between us. And every time, I shut him down. I dismissed him. I made sure he knew it was not enough. You imprisoned yourself and called it loyalty. I covered my face with my hands. I could not watch anymore. I could not see anymore. But the voice did not stop, and the scrolls did not close. You withheld forgiveness and called it wisdom. A new scroll appeared, this one glowing brighter than all the others. It showed a list, a long, detailed list, and I recognized it immediately. It was mine, the mental record I kept. Every time he was late, every time he forgot something, every time he disappointed me, every offense, cataloged, dated, stored. I had kept score. For years. I had kept score. And I had told myself it was just being realistic, protecting myself, not letting him hurt me again. But the scroll showed me what it really was. Unforgiveness. The word appeared in fire at the top of the list. And beneath it, chains. Literal chains. Wrapped around my heart. Thick. Heavy. Unbreakable. And every link in those chains was labeled. Resentment. Bitterness. Pride. Judgment. Coldness. Cruelty. You broke a covenant every day in your heart. I shook my head. Tears streaming down my face now. No. No. I kept my vows. I stayed. I did everything. I raised the kids. I managed the house. I did not leave. I did not. You left. The voice was so gentle. So heartbreakingly gentle. And that made it worse. You left him years ago. You just never walked out the door. The scrolls shifted again. And this time they showed me his perspective. Not mine. His. I saw him lying awake at night, staring at my back, wondering what he had done wrong. I saw him sitting in his car in the driveway after work, trying to gather the courage to come inside because he did not know what version of me he would find. I saw him praying. On his knees. In the dark. Asking God to help him love me better. To show him what to do. To fix whatever was broken between us. And I saw him crying. Alone. Silent. Because he did not want me to hear. I did not know, I whispered. You did not ask. Another scene. Him trying to talk to me. Really talk. Sitting on the edge of the bed, his voice careful, his words chosen gently. Can we talk about ourselves? I feel like I am losing you. And I saw myself stiffen. I saw myself cross my arms. I saw myself say, I am fine. You are imagining things. And I saw him nod. Saw him accept the lie. Saw him give up. He was never your enemy. The presence was closer now. I could feel it. All around me. Inside me. Seeing every thought. Every wound. Every secret sin I had hidden even from myself. Your unforgiveness was. The chains around my heart in the scroll grew heavier. Tighter. And I realized. I had put them there. Not him. Me. I had wrapped those chains around my own heart, link by link, offense by offense, year by year. And I blamed him for the weight. Your silence was not strength. A new scroll. Mornings. Dinners. Nights. Every moment I chose silence over honesty. Every time I punished him with coldness instead of telling him I was hurt. Every time I let the distance grow because it felt safer than vulnerability. It was a sword you used every day. I saw the impact. The cumulative damage. The way my silence carved wounds into him that never healed because he never knew they were there. The way my coldness made him doubt himself. Made him feel unwanted. Unloved. Small. No, I sobbed. I was protecting myself. I was hurt. I had a right to. To what? The voice was not harsh. Just clear. To punish him forever? To withhold love as payment for his failures? To break a covenant in your heart while keeping it in appearance? I could not answer. I could not speak. I just knelt there on the glass floor, the fire beneath me flickering, the scrolls surrounding me, the truth suffocating me. I thought. My voice was barely a whisper. I thought my pain gave me the right. It did not. Silence. The scrolls began to close. One by one. Slowly. Until only the covenant book remained. Open. Glowing. My vows are still burning on the page. And beneath them, in smaller script, a question forming in light. What did you do with this covenant? I stared at the words. And I knew the answer. I had kept the letter. But I had destroyed the spirit. I stayed in my body. But I had left in my heart. I had honored the vow in appearance. But I had violated it every single day in the silence of my soul. I could barely breathe. I broke it. I broke it. I thought I was the righteous one. I thought he was the problem. But it was me. It was me. The presence did not respond. It just waited. And in that waiting, I felt the full weight of what I had done. Not just to him. To us. To the covenant I had made before God. I had turned my husband into my enemy. I had nurtured bitterness like it was a virtue. I had used my pain as an excuse to stop loving. And I had called it strength. The glass floor beneath me cracked. Just a little. Just enough to remind me of the fire below. And then I felt it. The pull. Violent. Desperate. Like being grabbed by the back of my shirt and yanked backward through water. I gasped. The courtroom blurred. The scrolls disappeared. The light fractured into 1,000 pieces. Wait, I tried to say. Wait. I need to. I have to make this right. I have to. But I was already gone. Falling. Spinning. Darkness. And then pain. Unbearable, explosive pain in my chest. My lungs. My entire body is on fire. I gasped and choked and my eyes flew open and I saw lights. Hospital lights. Hands on me. Voices shouting. We have a pulse. She is back. Rebecca, can you hear me? And then his face. My husband's face. Hovering above mine. Destroyed. His eyes were red and swollen. His hand gripping mine so hard it hurt. And I squeezed back. I squeezed back with everything I had. And I wept. I woke up 3 days later. The first thing I felt was pain. Not the sharp, violent pain of dying, but the deep, aching pain of a body that had been torn open and stitched back together. My chest felt like it was on fire. Every breath hurt. I tried to move and realized I was connected to machines. Tubes. Wires. Monitors beeping in rhythm with a heart I was not sure was my own anymore. I opened my eyes slowly. The light was too bright. Hospital light. Sterile. Cold. I blinked and tried to focus, and the first face I saw was his. My husband. Sitting in a chair beside my bed. His head was down, his hand wrapped around mine, and he was praying. I could hear him. His voice was low and broken and desperate. Please, God. Please let her stay. Please do not take her from us. I do not know how to do this without her. Please. I squeezed his hand. Just barely. Just enough. His head shot up. His eyes met mine. And the look on his face. I will never forget it. Relief. Disbelief. Fear. Love. All of it crashing together at once. Rebecca, he whispered. His voice cracked. Tears spilled down his face. You are awake. You are, oh God, you are awake. I tried to speak, but my throat was raw. A nurse appeared, checking monitors, asking me questions I could barely process. Do you know where you are? Do you know your name? Can you squeeze my hand? I did what she asked, but I was not looking at her. I was looking at him. My husband. At the man I had spent years punishing for crimes that were not his. The baby, I finally croaked. My voice sounded like gravel. She is okay, he said quickly, leaning closer, his hand tightening around mine. She is perfect. 10 fingers. 10 toes. She is in the nursery. You can see her soon. You saved her, Rebecca. You saved her. I closed my eyes. Tears leaked out the corners and ran down into my hair. I did not save her. God did. And he saved me too. Even though I did not deserve it. The nurse left. The room was quiet except for the beeping of machines and the sound of my husband breathing. He was still holding my hand like he was afraid I would disappear if he let go. I opened my eyes and looked at him. Really looked at him. His face was pale. Exhausted. His eyes were red and swollen. He had not slept. I could see that. He had not left. And I realized he almost lost me. And I almost left him. Without ever telling him the truth. Daniel, I whispered. He leaned closer. I am here. I am right here. I swallowed. It hurt. Everything hurt. But not as much as what I was about to say. I need to tell you something. I need to tell you everything. He frowned. You need to rest. You just. No, my voice is stronger now. Urgent. Please. I need to say this. I need you to hear it. He nodded slowly. His eyes searched mine, confused, scared. Okay. I am listening. I took a breath. It rattled in my chest. And then I told him. Everything. I told him about the courtroom. About the scrolls. About the light and the glass floor and the fire beneath. I told him about the covenant book. About my vows burning in letters of fire. About the voice that spoke truth I could not run from. I told him what I saw. Every moment I dismissed him. Every time I turned away. Every silent punishment. Every cold shoulder. Every year I spent building a case against him instead of building a life with him. I saw it all, Daniel. My voice broke. I saw what I did to you. To us. I saw the bitterness. The unforgiveness. I saw the way I used silence as a weapon. The way I punished you every single day for not being perfect. I saw your heart. I saw you trying. I saw you praying. I saw you crying. And I saw myself shutting you out every single time. He was staring at me. His mouth slightly opened. His eyes wide. Tears streamed down his face. I thought I was the righteous one, I whispered. I thought I was the one holding everything together. I thought you were the problem. But it was me. It was me, Daniel. I broke our covenant. Not by leaving, but by staying without love. I kept the vow in form and destroyed it in my heart. And I am so sorry. He did not speak. He just sat there, his shoulders shaking, his hand still holding mine. And then he leaned forward and pressed his forehead against our joined hands and he sobbed. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from a place I had never let him show me before. I thought you hated me, he finally choked out. I thought I was failing you. Every day. I did not know what to do. I tried and it was never enough. I worked to provide and you resented me for it. I stayed home and you ignored me. I bought you flowers and you looked at me like I was pathetic. I planned dates and you sat across from me like I was a stranger. I did not know what you wanted. I did not know how to fix it. I just knew I was losing you. You were not losing me. I am crying now too. You already lost me. Years ago. I left you in my heart, and I stayed in the house, and I convinced myself that was faithfulness. But it was not. It was cruel. I was not perfect, he said, his voice breaking. I know I was not. I worked too much. I was not always there. Stop. I squeezed his hand as hard as I could with what little strength I had. Stop. You tried. I saw you try. And I punished you for trying because it was not exactly what I wanted, exactly when I wanted it. I kept score. I cataloged every failure. I withheld forgiveness like it was a weapon. And I destroyed us. Not you. Me. He lifted his head. His face was wrecked. What do we do now? I looked at him. At this man I had vowed to love. This man I had hurt more than anyone else on earth. This man who was still sitting beside my bed, still holding my hand, still here. I do not know, I whispered. But I want to try. I want to learn how to love you the way I promised. Not the way I did. The way I should have. Will you? Will you let me? Will you forgive me? He did not answer right away. He just looked at me. And I saw it. The years of pain. The years of rejection. The scars I had left on him. And I understood, in that moment, that forgiveness is not something you demand. It is something you wait for. Something you hope for. Something you do not deserve but you ask for anyway. And then he nodded. Yes, he said. Yes, I forgive you. And I am sorry too. For every way I failed you. For every time I was not enough. You were always enough, I said. I just could not see it. He climbed onto the hospital bed. Carefully. Gently. He lay beside me, his arm across my waist, his head on my shoulder. And we stayed like that. Broken. Weeping. But together. For the first time in years. Truly together. The weeks that followed were the hardest of my life. Not because of the physical recovery, though that was brutal. My body had been through trauma. It was not meant to survive. But the emotional recovery, that was something else entirely. That was facing the woman I had become and deciding, every single day, to become someone different. I came home from the hospital on a Tuesday. Daniel carried the baby in her car seat. I walked slowly, my hand pressed to my chest, every step reminding me I had died and come back. Our older children were waiting in the driveway. They ran to me, careful not to hug too hard, their faces lit up with relief. And I looked at them, really looked at them, and I saw it. The tension they carried. The way they had learned to navigate around the coldness between their parents. The way they had absorbed the silence and made it normal. I knelt down, even though it hurt, and I pulled them close. I am so sorry, I whispered into their hair. I am so sorry for what you have had to live with. That is going to change. I promise you. That is going to change. We started counseling 2 weeks later. Marriage counseling. The kind where you sit in a room with a stranger, and you say things out loud you have never admitted to anyone, not even yourself. It was humiliating. It was excruciating. But it was necessary. I learned that silence is not protection. I learned that speaking the truth, even when it hurts, is the only way to build something real. I learned that forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a daily choice. Sometimes an hourly choice. Sometimes a minute-by-minute choice. I also started individual therapy. Because the bitterness I had carried was not just about my marriage. It was about wounds I had never dealt with. Expectations I had never examined. Pain I had buried instead of healing. I learned that hurt people hurt people. And I had been hurting for a long time. There were setbacks. Days where I felt the old patterns creeping back in. A moment where Daniel forgot to do something I asked, and I felt the familiar surge of resentment rising in my chest. I felt my mouth tightening, my walls going up, the cold silence waiting to be deployed like a weapon I had mastered. But this time I stopped. I took a breath, and I said, out loud, that hurt my feelings. When you forget things I ask you to do, it makes me feel like I do not matter. My voice shook. It felt terrifying to be that vulnerable. To admit I was hurt instead of punishing him for hurting me. And you know what he said? You are right. I am sorry. I will set a reminder on my phone right now. And he did. Right there. In front of me. And it was such a small thing. But it was everything. Because I had spoken. And he had heard me. And we had not destroyed each other in the process. I will not lie to you. There were nights I cried myself to sleep because the work of rebuilding was so much harder than the work of tearing down. There were moments I wanted to quit. Moments I thought, maybe we are too broken. Maybe it is too late. But every time I thought that, I remembered the courtroom. I remembered the scrolls. I remembered the voice saying, he was never your enemy. And I chose to keep going. Our marriage is not perfect now. We still have hard days. We still misunderstand each other. We still hurt each other's feelings. But the difference is, we do not let it fester anymore. We do not store it up like ammunition. We talk. We cry. We apologize. We forgive. We try again. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, we are learning what covenant actually means. It means staying, yes. But not just staying. It means staying with your whole heart. It means choosing love when love is hard. It means forgiving when you do not feel like forgiving. It means speaking truth when silence feels safer. It means seeing your spouse not as your enemy, but as the person you promise to walk with through everything until death parts you. And even then, not letting bitterness be the thing that kills you first. I learned something in that courtroom that I wish I had known 15 years ago. Heaven does not judge your marriage by how much you endured. It judges it by how you loved. Not how long you stayed, but how you stayed. Not what you did, but what lived in your heart while you did it. Because you can keep every vow on paper and break every vow in your soul. You can stay married and still commit adultery, not with another person, but with bitterness, with resentment, with unforgiveness. I see marriages around me now and I ache for them. I see wives who do what I did, who keep score, who uses silence as punishment, who believe their pain gives them the right to withhold love. I see husbands who do the same, who checks out emotionally, who gives up trying, who convince themselves that providing is the same as loving. And I want to shake them. I want to tell them, do not wait. Do not wait until you are standing in that courtroom. Do not wait until it is too late. Do not waste years punishing someone for not being perfect when you are not perfect either. If you are in a marriage right now and you are holding on to unforgiveness, let it go. I know it feels like if you let it go, you are saying what they did was okay. But that is not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not saying, it did not hurt. Forgiveness is saying, it hurts, but I am not going to let it poison me anymore. Forgiveness is unlocking the chains you put on your own heart and walking free. If you are using silence as a weapon, stop. Speak. Tell the truth. Say, I am hurt. I am angry. I feel unseen. I feel unloved. Give your spouse the chance to hear you. Give them the chance to respond. Do not punish them for crimes they do not even know they committed. If you have convinced yourself that enduring a cold marriage is the same as honoring your vows, it is not. God does not want you to just survive your marriage. He wants you to live it. Fully. Honestly. With vulnerability and grace, and the kind of love that costs you something. And if you are the one who has been shut out, if you are the one trying and failing and trying again, do not give up. Keep reaching. Keep speaking. Keep showing up. But also, ask for help. Get counseling. Do not let pride convince you that needing help means you are failing. Needing help means you are human. I am not the woman I was before I died. I will never be her again. And I thank God for that. Because she was dying long before her heart stopped. She was drowning in bitterness and calling it strength. She was breaking the covenant every day and calling it faithfulness. She was destroying the man she loved and blaming him for the destruction. I am learning every single day what it means to love the way God loves. Unconditionally. Sacrificially. With forgiveness that does not keep a record of wrongs. With grace that does not demand perfection. With a heart that stays soft even when it has been hurt. My daughter is 6 months old now. I watch her sleep in her crib and I think about how close I came to never seeing her. Never holding her. Never watching her grow. And I think about my husband. About how close I came to leaving him with 3 children and a lifetime of guilt and confusion, wondering what he did wrong, never knowing that the problem was not him. I do not know why God gave me a second chance. I do not know why he pulled me back. But I know what I am supposed to do with it. I am supposed to tell you the truth. The truth that no one wants to hear, but everyone needs to know. Heaven does not honor the spouse who endures bitterness in silence. Heaven honors the one who chooses to forgive when it costs everything. Your marriage covenant is not just a piece of paper you signed on your wedding day. It is a living, breathing promise you make every single day with your actions, your words, and your heart. And God sees it all. Every cold shoulder. Every silent punishment. Every moment you chose pride over humility, resentment over grace, bitterness over love. Check your heart, not just your actions. Because you can do everything right on the outside and destroy everything on the inside. And one day you will stand in that courtroom. And the scrolls will open. And you will see the truth you spent your whole life avoiding. Do not wait until then. Make it right now. While you still can. Forgive. Speak. Love. Choose your spouse over your pride. Choose vulnerability over self-protection. Choose covenant over comfort. Because in the end, heaven does not judge your marriage by who is right. It judges it by how you are loved. And love, real love, is the hardest, most beautiful, most costly thing you will ever do. If you are still here, thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing my story. If this testimony moved you, if it challenged you, if it made you think about your own heart and your own marriage, Please share it. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. Turn on notifications. And watch the next testimony on your screen. Because these stories, they are not just entertainment. They are warnings. They are wake-up calls. They are second chances you get to take without having to die first. Do not waste them.